Welcome to another episode of Founders Club. Today we're going to be talking to Chris Deitz, the founder of Big Block Executives. He's going to be telling us his story about how he built the number 12 office in Keller Williams in the nation, how he's coached hundreds of real estate agents, and why they call him the White Rick Ross of real estate. We're going to be talking about how you can build a successful team or office in real estate, how to create a magnetic culture and brand, and how having an entrepreneurial mindset will help you 10x your real estate business. If you have any questions, put them in the box down below. Make sure you judo chop that like button so other people just like you can find this video. And as always, if you like money and you like real estate, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you on the inside. Welcome to Founders Club, the show for real estate entrepreneurs. All right, sitting here with Chris Deitz. Very excited to have you in today. We're going to be drinking a couple beers. We got an all-day IPA from Founders Brewing and a Pizza Port Session IPA.
Yeah, I'm rocking a Ponto.
Shout out to them as well.
Yeah.
If anyone else has hookups on beer, we'd love to. Oh,
That's a foul. That's gonna be great on the B-roll.
wow.
I think we should take back the shout out, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
we're taking the shout.
Take back the shout out.
Bro, what in the actual fuck? Have you ever seen a beer spray that much beer before?
That was a fountain.
Bro, I've seen a little bit come out before, but that I'm like soaking wet. The floor is soaking. All right. Well, for those of you that are only listening on the podcast, you missed the explosion of my first beer. So we're gonna try this one more time. This time we're switching it up to an amber ale from Pizza Port. So we're both drinking the Pizza Port beer.
New shout out.
And not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous to open this. All right,
We're
there
set.
we go. Cheers. That's how it's supposed to go right
Now
there.
we're ready for a successful podcast.
Oh my goodness. So real quick, as we're starting here, I got a story to tell about the podcast studio real quick. Had a good friend over here. Again, this is going to be for the YouTube audience, but for the people at home, we got a little bit different lighting in here today. It's not as lit, and we're going to do some new backlit stuff. I had a good friend of mine in the marketing world tell me that I don't picture you in a well lit studio. And then he started breaking down the acoustics of my voice and all of these other different factors. And he was like, he basically said that I sounded a little bit like Alec Baldwin, which is the first thing anyone's ever told me that, and that the acoustics of my voice are better for passive listening and like listening at night or like listening in the car, things like that, where you're doing something else and listening. And so I should not have a well lit studio. I should have a dimly lit studio
Almost like setting the mood.
to match the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's the new vibe check in the studio. So we're going to roll with it. Let us know what you think. Put a comment down below. Reach out. Tell us if you like it. Um, but yeah, excited to be here with Chris Deeds and want to know a lot about your story. You've had a lot of success in your young years and just want to hear a little bit more about your story. But why don't we start with kind of where you got into the real estate game?
Man, so getting into the real estate game was kind of a wild ride. I was in Las Vegas and working with a powerhouse company doing exterior supply products, wholesaling to contractors. And my job was fairly easy. I mean, my job was just to make sure that some of the national accounts were well taken care of and this, and that. And I was heavily involved in the softball scene out there, which is if you're from Las Vegas, you already know that that is like the mecca of, UAAA softball. Like that's where you go.
Really?
Yeah. So, just in that network, a lot of the players were real estate agents, and we always talked, we chatted. I mean, in that network, you're pretty tight. It's a pretty tight knit group. So long story short, it just so happened that one day that these guys were always in my ear. Man, you got to get into real estate. Man, you got to get into real estate. I'm like, nah, I don't know anything about real estate. It's too hard. It's too this. It's too that. And I didn't know anything. And so one day I had hired a new outside sales rep, and I was driving that person over to a national account that happened to be housed in Las Vegas. And this account never really gave us a lot of love. And I was trying to mend that by having somebody personal that they can contact all the time because I sure as heck wasn't available to meet all of the requirements. So we had noticed, though, as a company, that these guys were just flooding sales down our throat like month after month. We're like, what the hell are we doing right? Like, what's going on? So it was kind of a good intro because we were at a height with this particular company. And as I'm making the introductions, they're all happy that they finally have a rep that's going to call them on a regular basis. But more importantly, I'm saying, hey, Steve, like, what's going on? You guys are dropping money left and right, and we really haven't been doing a great job with you. Like, what's going on? And he goes, you guys are getting like that much. We are slammed. And I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And the company, I mean, we're the wheelhouse for the company that I was working for was roofing. Like that's their thing. And so he took me back into their largest of many conference rooms. And on this table, this war room table, was just piles of blueprints. And he goes, dude, see all these blueprints? I'm like, yeah. He goes, these are all approved by Clark County. All of these are communities. And my jaw,
Communities, not
communities.
houses.
No, these are
Wow.
communities of houses. And my jaw was like, I was like, bro, where are they building all this stuff? He goes, open your eyes, brother. I mean, this thing it's going all around.
Right.
And he was right. I mean, you didn't take a genius to just kind of drive around Las Vegas and go, damn, there's so much new stuff being built. In Vegas is anyway, they renew themselves every 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in doing so, like a light bulb went off and seeing all of these new houses, new housing, new communities. I'm like, dang, oh, wait a minute, someone's got to sell all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So in my genius, I said, I know just the person. And I called all my friends. Like I didn't even think about myself. And like a week later, they all hit me up when we were playing ball. He's like, "So you're all excited about these communities? Like, do you see why you should just get your license? Someone's got to sell them."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, is it easy?" And they're like, "Yeah, dude, it's real estate. It's super easy." I said, "Well, you get paid a lot?" He goes, "Yeah, we get paid. We get paid awesome, you know." Oh, okay. So it's easy and we get paid a lot and there's no issue. He goes, "Yeah." Well, shit, I'm one of the best sales guys in my company. Like I'm highly decorated. I get pats on the back all the time. I'm getting awards. I'm getting all the hardware. Okay. Yeah, let's run it. So I literally quit my job. 18 days in Vegas and you're licensed. So I went and signed up for a pre-licensing class. 18
Mm-hmm.
days later, I got my stamp of approval, got my little card. I'm part of the board. Like, let's go. 3 months. I mean, not even a wrong number. I'm sitting there trying to figure out like what the hell did I just get myself into? But I mean that literally was my intro to real estate was a group of friends telling me it was super easy, ton of money, like it was the greatest idea ever. And I just went, it's kind of a Chris complex is like if I see something, okay, let's do it. But yeah, that was my intro to real estate.
And then, so where did it go from there? And did you hit the ground running, or was it not what you
As you would imagine, if you just
thought
took
it
a look at
was?
me on the street, like there's no running. Right? Uh, I hit the ground flat on my face. I just thought, and I think maybe there's a lot of agents out there that think the same way, or possibly might have this in the back of their head that, you're a social person, you do a great job in your previous job. I was already in sales, so I mean, I thought everything would just come natural because I did have a successful career in sales. There was no rag to riches, in
Yeah.
the story, but um, it also was misled me greatly. And yeah, dude, 90 days, it was 92 days literally. I can remember like it was yesterday where there was literally no, I would go to this office that I was a part of and I would just I called myself a looper because I'd just walk in, make a loop, and then I'd walk out and be like, oh, that was my day at the office, I guess. I didn't know what to do. And I didn't work for some giant big brick and mortar. So there wasn't really a lot of bodies. There wasn't a lot of people talking or chatting. I mean, it was literally a front desk person and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So I am just trashing my savings because although like I changed careers, my lifestyle didn't change. And me and my wife, we're doing it hard. We live in Vegas and we know local Vegas and we have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I am just one day, just the pissed off Sicilian came out and I was just angry at myself. So on this day, like many days before that, I walk into my favorite joint. Shout out to Phil in Las Vegas, Windy City's Beefs and Pizza. I'll never forget. Um, I'm sitting there, and I'm from Chicago. Family's from Chicago, so it's kind of like a little mini home for me because it's just plastered in bears and bulls, and you got Jordan flying over you. It's super cool. Anyway, all their food's flown in, and so I'm eating a couple dogs, and I get on Instagram, and dude, this is a long time ago. So Instagram wasn't really what it was today, like how we are used to it today.
Mm-hmm.
Reels and stories
Yeah.
and all these things like that stuff wasn't a thing. And so I get on Instagram. I got my phone right in front of me, mustard and shit all over myself, and I'm just ranting how I made a horrible mistake. I'm the worst real estate agent that's ever got their license. This is the dumbest move I've ever done. I don't know why I chose to do this career change. I'm gonna have to tuck my tail, go back, like do all these things. I was just ranting. And so I put the phone down and Phil, the owner, comes up. He goes, "What was that all about? You're yelling at your phone. You look like an idiot." And I said, dude, it's just a thing. I said, he goes, what's going on? I said, I got into real estate. He goes, oh, you're into real estate? I said, yeah, I got into real estate like 3 months ago, and it's just been horrible. It's been the worst experience I ever had. Then he goes, why? I said, I can't even get someone to say, hey, I'm thinking about a house. He goes, hey, dude, my sister's coming over here. Yeah, I'll get right now. Literally got his sister on the phone right in front of me. We connected. She goes, "You're my guy. I'm coming in hot. I'll sign whatever I got to sign. I need a house and I'm coming in like next week."
Wow.
And I'm going, "Holy shit, this is my first deal. This is going to happen." And so now I'm all cheery. You know,
Yeah.
beers for everybody.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited.
Right.
So I jump on Instagram to like delete the post. But on that post was 7 comments and saying, "Oh, because I live in Summerlin, like I need to move too. Me and Bill, we're trying to get out."
Mm.
And I'm going, "Oh shit, okay. Well, hey, let me call you." And then I had, dude, your next door neighbor is literally packing up. You need to call him. And all of these, I had 7 comments. Out of those 7 comments, I put 5 in escrow.
Wow.
And so that day literally changed my entire trajectory, but then also was literally the foundation of the rest of my career in real estate, even up to this point now. And that's
Wow.
been through social media. Yeah, it's been pretty intense. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say a couple interesting things. There's one, like the power of social media, right?
Yeah.
Like you harness that really early. So we can talk about that because that's something you still do really well to this day. Um, but also about how you're a sales guy, you came into the business, but you probably didn't do any of the sales techniques. Like you probably weren't calling, you just didn't know.
No, a lot of
So,
that stuff just came to me.
right.
You know what I mean? At the position I was at, I did all the hard work when I was younger in the company. And it's not that I didn't have the skills. I actually, to be honest with you, a lot of the skills that are necessary in real estate, I had to brush up on. I had great success in my previous company, but I mean, it wasn't as detailed or not as much as a journey as it is from start to finish.
Mm,
It's still sales and there's still a program, there's still questions that need to be asked and things like that. There's still a skill set to kind of change the mind of somebody because I got competitors too out there. But in real estate, it's a craft that really needs the most attention
mm.
when it comes to understanding the skill set needed. It's not just I know a bunch of people and I'm pretty popular. I'm pretty sure I'll get a deal or two. It is a science, and I think that part is what I had to really learn the hard way. Getting the client eventually came fairly easy. I don't want to say easy but it was fairly easy. But then once I got them, that's when I really knew like, oh shit, I really got to step up my game here because they're asking questions I don't know. And then I'm just kind of assuming I'm not asking the right questions. So it was at that point where I'm like, okay, now I got to be a professional. Like I
Mm,
got to figure this part out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Real estate as a science. You just said. I like that.
Oh,
That's
it's
cool.
100% a
Let's
science. Yeah.
let's let's break down that science. Tell me more about that.
When I got into like the coaching side of real estate, that's where I was kind of like, you start dissecting different things, right? And there is I'm kind of retracting, but it's also art to me. Like it's an art form. And I don't believe there's a lot of folks that are like, yo, you're a salesperson. At the end of the day, you're selling. And I'm like, yeah, you're kind of more or less advising though, right? And you still have to ask the questions to figure out how you could properly advise those. But when you go to a therapist, all they do is ask you questions. And
Right.
then they answer your question with a question. Like that's really what we are to the general public because there's so much information out there now that you don't know what to believe, but
Hmm.
then you believe the majority. The majority is fear driven, and you start to create your own reality based on the information that is the easiest accessible. And it is an ongoing issue where real estate agents don't pronounce themselves enough to be the person of influence to give them their news, to give them their updates. And I think that's one of the biggest issues right now. So yeah, when I say it's a science, it really is. It's a formula, right? It's a formula from the time that you brand yourself, you find your client, you ask the client questions. Even inside of that, there's a formula. There's a scientific method. You always talk about scripts, and I think that is wildly misunderstood as well, the scripts and things like that. So, it's a role play, it's practice, and if you think about science, it's trial and error. And I really believe that real estate is a career of trial and error because of
Hmm.
how often markets shift, um, things happen in our economy. There's so many different things that happen. So understanding the flow and being able to use different trial and error in each one of those categories, from finding your client to understanding which questions to ask, all the way to the process. I mean, how many times, especially here in California, how many times do things change in the contract?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Got a new
it's
contract update
yeah,
next week.
100, yeah, dude, 100%. So to me, it really is a science and then it's an art. Like once you start to understand formulas and be able to integrate it, then it just becomes an art form. And it just depends on how well practiced you are to be the best painter you can be.
Mm.
And yeah, man, it's that I think that's the journey that really is kind of lost. You know what I mean? There's a lot of failure in this industry, and I think it's just because there's not a clear definition of what this industry is.
And so, how can agents um, apply that science to their daily business?
Practice, dude. That's it. Just practice. The question I get asked most is why, the question I get asked most now is why is there so much failure in real estate? How do I not become part of that 87%? And I start out with one thing, and it's like forget everything that's on the table of real estate and just go and understand the definition of what an entrepreneur is. Like understand entrepreneurship. If
Mm,
you understand the definition of entrepreneurship, the rest could fall into place. But nothing will ever happen if you can't reprogram your brain to get out of this 9 to 5 mentality, this assumptive mentality. Dude, it's you. It's only you. It'll always be you. And even if you join a team, it's still you going to bed at night and waking up, you're by yourself
hmm.
and everything in between. There's a support system there. Yes, you might get leads, you might get some coaching, you might get some help on a team, but at the end of the day, you're still an entrepreneur. You're still yourself. And so if you understand that craft, that mindset, uh, everything else could easily fall into place because everything else is just practice, but it's a mindset shift. The 9 to 5 and an entrepreneur are two separate things. And a lot of 9 to 5ers say, I want to be an entrepreneur. And that's okay. I mean, we all have thoughts of wanting to do something bigger, and that's great. It's until you understand the definition of entrepreneurship is when you can really make that transition
Mm,
and really make something happen for yourself from getting out of the normalcy that we're all programmed to when we're born.
mm.
Not all of us were born with silver spoon in hand. and opportunities just falling at our feet. So the first thing is identifying that we want to do something bigger. We want to do something for ourselves, for our families, for our generation. That's all great. But it's really difficult if you don't understand everything that comes with that.
Mm,
And that's entrepreneurship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really good advice. Like, become an entrepreneur first,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
learn the real estate business because, the sales, the systems, the marketing, that's all universal across most businesses.
Right.
And then you just take that and apply it to the real estate specifics.
That's really all it comes down to like entrepreneurs, true entrepreneurs, will never play the blame game. They'll never do it. Remember, I said it's a science, it's trial and error, right? So you have a mad scientist in the background just putting together all their formulas and they're trying things out and they're making things work and they figure out a way to allow it to work for their purpose, right? And yet, the people that don't understand the real definition of entrepreneurship, they do play the blame game. Oh, well, that didn't work for me, or that company didn't support me, or they didn't answer my call, or gosh, I mean, how much time do we have, right? So the blame game is really set by folks who have not accepted the role of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur looks at failure as, oh, okay, I have to I have to kind of manufacture something else there so it doesn't become a failure next
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
They look at ratios. Well, I'm a 1 to 500. I got to dial that in to make it one for seven, right? So there's a journey in that. Entrepreneurship is literally just it's an art of failing and then finding the victory without pointing fingers.
Mm,
And if it is something that's out of their immediate control, their ability to shift is what separates them from the rest of the pack. So yeah, that when they say, well, how can people fail so much? Dude, the opportunities out there for everybody. There's so much food out there. It's literally comes down just to the mindset of how you're moving towards this industry. If you're thinking that this is just like a job, I can come in, there's going to be a lead there, I ask a couple questions and then it's done, you know,
then you're an order taker.
yeah, yeah, that's it,
Yeah.
and then you're going to start pointing fingers. Well, they didn't tell me this and they didn't tell me that, and this company didn't support me, and I didn't get the right, and no one knew, and I didn't know this, and blah blah. There's so much information out there now. It's just intense. There's no way you could fail unless you really just don't have the mindset to crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love that. Um, so I'm just going to change gears a little bit. You have coached a lot of agents.
yeah,
You were the CEO of a Keller Williams office in your early 30s at a young age.
yeah.
Um, Tell me about how you did that. How did you rise through the ranks of real estate in the manner that you did, in the trajectory you had?
So the Keller Williams story is interesting because they didn't like my philosophy at all. It was not an easy breakthrough. Um, Coming out of so when my last part of my boots on the ground career, I was still in Vegas and I was working with Mike Ferry, and I just packed up my bags and said, I'm taking the show to California. Being with that company for as long as I was, I knew that there was a lot of opportunity in Southern California specifically because of where I was being sent to do trainings and things like that. So when I came out here, my resume was floating all over the place. I was driving back from Beverly Hills from was it United Real Estate? I can't remember. I think they're Prudential now or something, or they were going through a merger at the time, and I was in there coaching the actual brokers themselves on building their roster up. Driving back, I got a phone call from a who's now one of my closest friends and said, "Hey, I'd like to interview you for the position that we have open for productivity coach." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what's that?" He says, "Well, you come in here, you build a roster of agents that you'll be coaching, and you take a split from them, and this and that." I said, "Okay, well, I'm actually on my way back, and I can stop right now." So that day, I stopped right in Yorba Linda, and I started working right there on the spot. I mean, the terms weren't the best, but that's really all they had that was available to offer. And I'm like, well, I got nothing else really locked in. Let's make this happen. So I signed right on the spot. And I noticed, and no fault to anybody at anything or anything like that, there's no pointing the fingers, but I noticed that the office was, this was a gorgeous office. And there was just no life. There was nothing going on. There was a few people that would show up, but they would close their door, and it was like this empty, really, it was like a haunted house. Like you got this beautiful house, but it's empty all the time. And I told him, I was like, when you guys have sales meetings, how often do people come? And he go, it's like 7 or 8. I'm like, how many people do you have in your roster? Close to 600.
Wow.
I'm going, what? So I started asking a ton of questions regarding like with the communication to the agents. Like, what do you guys do? What do you guys do? He goes, we shoot them an email. And I'm like, do they know where to go? I mean, how often do they check their emails? Or do they have multiple emails? Well, everybody gets a KW email. Okay, true, but do they use it?
Right.
Right? Like that, everyone's got their own emails for so long now. Do
Yeah.
they even use it? So I said, listen, I just need you to give me a week. I'll try to figure something out. And over the course of 2 weeks, it actually took, um, just using strictly social media methods, direct communication like text messaging and things like DMs. Found all the agents on either Instagram, Facebook, and I started DMing everybody, and then started doing videos so they could see who the hell they were talking to. And all of a sudden, about 2 weeks later, the sales meeting we had for like 45 people show up, and still a far cry from 600, right? But
Right.
45 was a lot better than 7.
Yeah. A lot
And
better.
right. And then using that crowd, you start to talk to people in front of a camera. So now you have agents who didn't come see agents that they know, and they're talking about fun things and stuff like that. So it caught fire pretty quick. And he had told me, he goes, you know what you need to do? You need to get into to be a team leader. You need to run one of these things. And I said, yeah, okay, well, we'll see.
Hmm.
He was serious. He was a lot more serious than I had thought. And he made a couple phone calls, and then it was about a month later, Chula Vista, we had a conversation, and this was the best thing ever, right? So I'm excited for this opportunity, and I had asked my guy before I go down to Chula Vista, what are they going to ask me? And he goes, well, our job at this level is just strictly recruiting. That's what we do. We recruit, and then we coach the top percentage of the
Hmm.
of the of the roster. I said, well, I don't do that. And he goes, oh, dude, you're great. You're bringing people in, blah blah. I'm like, I'm not going to talk somebody into coming to a brokerage. That's that's not how things work nowadays. And this guy, by the way, could have shut me down immediately. He was one of the biggest powerhouses in the SoCal region as far as agent onboarding every month. I mean, this guy was a crusher. So I go down to Chula Vista, and I'm sitting in front of a panel of 17 people. Most of them were investors, a couple leadership staff. And on my way in, I'm coming in, and you've seen me dress a few times now. Like I'm not the most in the business world, the most professional looking. I was dubbed the boss over there because they called me the White Ross. It looked like I'd come in looking like Rick Ross. Um, so I was dubbed the White Ross of the office. And I'm walking in with jeans and a shirt that's, I mean, it's got flowers all over the place. I mean, I look like I'm maybe going to a club in Miami somewhere, right? And coming down the hallway is the last guy who's interviewing, and he's in a three-piece suit, looking sharp. And he goes, "Hey man, well, hey, good luck." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." I'm like, never will I dress like that. So that's not happening. So I continue on and I walk in, and I could see the fear on some of these folks' faces. They're like, what the hell just walked into our
Who's this
place?
guy?
Yeah. And I sit down, I'm just, I already know I'm not going to do what they want me to do as far as what's on the paper. So I'm really got nothing to lose here. I'm sitting back, and they said, we're looking for a specific with KW. There's quotas, right? And they say, hey, we're looking to for someone who's going to recruit and build this office. I said, build the office. I'm your guy. Recruit, count me up. I said, well, that's part of the job. I said, not my job. I said, you will have a growing office. You will have wild success. That I could promise you. But if you want me to sit in a room all day, make phone calls, and tell agents, "Hey, congratulations on your last listing. We should have a cup of coffee sometime," or "Hey, either people need time or they need money. Which one do you need?" Like, dude, those are so tired, and there's never been a change or mix up in that in like 25 years. So any agent that's been around for more than 10 minutes has gotten that phone call like 100 times. And I'm just told them, I was like, that is not me. I'm
Mm,
never going to do that. And so they said, well, knowing that recruiting is a part of this role, why did you accept it to interview? I said, because I'm the guy that's going to blow this thing out of the water. I'm the guy that's going to give you more agents than well, how are you going to do that without recruiting? I said, I'm in the firm belief now in this era of real estate that if you build it, they will come. I said, recruiting has always been built to me, in my opinion, on false promises. If you come here, we'll do this for you, we'll do that for you, and your
yeah,
split will be this. And it's like, I'm going to do all of these things. Everything's going to be so happy and shiny. And then they come in and literally you're on to the next.
on to the
You
next.
don't even think about what just happened or the person you just recruited or what you even said to them. And then they're all pumped up, they're amped up, they're excited. And you give them a good week. And then after that, it's just a smaller, unless you have the anomaly of the two different situations, whether they're a beast from day one and they don't need really anything, or two, they end up finding a clique of friendship, right? So now they become friends with somebody or multiple
Right.
people in the office, and that's not really building a business. That's just being comfortable in your environment, right?
Hmm.
So one of those two anomalies may happen, but for the most part, people come to this office based on what you told them, what you sold them, and then they just kind of get dust under the rug and you're on to the next. And a lot of that comes from the pressures of, hey, we have to hit this number or you're out. And you're like, damn, man, this is tough. It's a hard
Mm,
position. And a shout out, honestly, to all the team leaders out there in that position because it's a tough gig. And they asked me like, well, what do you present then? How do you propose what are you going to build? I said, number one, you guys have no presence. No one talks about you. No one knows about you. You're just kind of here in Chula Vista. And I noticed there's a lot of other agencies around here, and how come they're not all here? How come you guys aren't all over there? Like, why are all these things not happening, or why are these things happening? And so I said, we build out a full-on social media blitz, market correctly, shake up the industry because number one, they're gonna be like, why are these guys talking? Who are these? Since when does Keller Williams say anything? Right. So I went heavy in the paint. And I said, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're looking for somebody to sit in the office with a suit and tie, make those phone calls, drink his coffee, and hit that quota, I promise you I'm not that guy. If you want to have different kind of energy in here, if you want to see your office transform and then have agents want to be coming inside of this
hmm.
office, I'm your guy. Like we can make this happen right now.
Mm,
And the owner's wife, the co-owner, um, she looked me directly in the face. She was not a big fan of my philosophy from day one. Like she's very traditional, hard nosed. And she looked me straight in the face. She goes, I just don't think that's going to work. I said, that's fair. No debating, right? And the other owner goes, well, how long will this take? I said, you will not see anything for 6 months. And they're like, oh, what do you mean 6 months? I said, you may not understand how it works, but I'm telling you, digital, it takes 4 to 6 months for things to start seeing a return on your investment.
hmm.
So if you guys do choose me for this gig, I promise you, we might get a trickle by accident, but not from my effort will we see anything for 4 to 6 months. And so I got a call and said, we're tired of the same old, same old. We're going to give you a go. And I said, awesome. I'll be there Monday. So I remember again, April 18th was my first day in 2018 and nothing. May, nothing. June, I think we had two people join our company. July, nothing. Blah, blah. Anyway, you get down to October. we had 22 people sign up in that month.
Mm.
And you get into November, we had 18 people sign up in that month. And then December, even through the holidays, we still had 17 people sign up. And then that carried through the next year. And all of a sudden, during that time, I was putting different things in the office, changing things up, redecorating, stuff like that. And everyone's just like, what's this guy doing? And the agents were pumped. You could see like the excitement, like, man, this guy, this guy, this guy. There's a lot of talk and chatter about, it wasn't so much like, who the hell is this guy? And now it's like, what's next from this guy?
Mm.
And, not for nothing, but I think even you guys saw a little bit of what was being done through the feeds of social media. But I was on attack mode. It wasn't to, piss on anybody. It was to let everyone know that there's another bear in this forest, and we're coming. We're hungry too,
Yeah.
And so, wild success came out of that. But dude, it was a gauntlet to get people to just leave me the frick alone and just let it take its course.
Mm.
There's a lot, it still happens. Anybody that gets into the marketing part, they see the cost that's involved and they go, "Oh, hell no. No way." Not realizing that, dude, that is the most vital, that's the heart. It's the
Mm-hmm.
heart and soul, right? How many times, I mean, Grant Cardone talks about this all the time. Like, if I had $1 million, I'd put $1 million into marketing
Mm-hmm.
and let the rest pan out. If I had, $1 billion, I'd put $1 billion into marketing and let the rest pound. Like, marketing is the money. But for some reason in real estate, we try to push this down our agent's throat, but we as brokerages, we don't do it. Like, why? Why not? Why aren't we the most dominant force in our industry? But yet we get pissed off when a company like Redfin's or Open Door or Zillow comes into our market and kind of pushes us around. I'm like, bro, the consumers know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Of course they're going to push us around.
Yep.
So, yeah, the journey through that, I did find some really good success with KW and started to really climb the ranks through there and ended up working at 4 different offices within 3 years, built them all up. The biggest claim is we took one office that was fairly small, a little blip on the map, and we took it to number 12 in the entire company.
Wow.
So it was a heck of a journey. But everything, even for yourself, you start to take a deep look at the industry and you start to take a deep look at the agents. And the biggest thing is you start to take a deep look at our society. Like, how do we live? How do we move? How
Mm-hmm.
are we programmed now? The way that we operate now is much different than the way we operate in the 90s. And so that was really what transformed my level of thinking. And I just doubled down and it's been gravy ever since, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. And yeah, I agree with that. It sounds like you got really good at the attraction piece and building a culture and all of that. So I'm curious, how are you building your new office with those principles that you learned from the past?
It's a horrible thing to say, but I'm going to say it because I'm always the guy that I don't care. I have no filter. You guys know that I have no filter. It's a giant, genuine bait and switch. I deliver on perceived necessity. In other words, instead of forcing my belief on what agents should be doing, because even as a coach or mentorship, part of my job is to make sure I'm on top of my game. Instead of pounding people in their head saying, you got to learn your scripts, man, you got to role play, you got to do affirmations, you got to come to the office, you must come to a training, you must do all these things. I'm talking to a wall in many occasions because that just doesn't sit well with the agents of today. And I started going, what? Everywhere I look, no matter the brokerage, forget the name brands and who's behind it, no matter who it is, everyone's forcing a direction, but no one's listening to the agent.
Hmm.
So I had to really shut myself down and be like, okay, well, what do they want? And a lot of the times when I'm sitting in front of an agent, they kind of have their feathers out, they got their shield up, and when we're having this interview, like I might join your brokerage. I want to know more about what you deliver. And I'm like, what do you need? Well, uh, well, what do you have? What do you need? And so they'll start telling me why I want an office. Okay, what else? Well, I want, what do you charge for flyers? What do you normally get charged for flyers? Well, my other office is still trying. Okay, well, less than that. What else do you need? There was nothing that they could bring to the table that I couldn't produce. And if there
Hmm.
was something that was wild, I would just tell them, yeah, we don't do that. That's it.
Right.
Like I want a better split. Okay, what is that? What does that look like? I'm prepared to do whatever they need. All I have to do is write it down and go, okay, one of two things. Either let me go see if I can make that happen because your ass is kind of wild and weird, or that's normal stuff, dude. No problem.
Yeah.
Right. And I build a team to make sure that that's carried out.
Hmm.
And dude, nine times out of 10, it's not a big deal. It's a few things that the office already has. Maybe it's just not, it needs to get some, dusted off a little bit and maybe rejuvenated, but then all you got to do is present in front of the agent and then boom, they're excited and they're happy. So I know this sounds arrogant and I hope it doesn't come off that way, but I know what agents need, right, as far as a path to finding their success, because I believe that real estate is a very unique journey to each. So, entrepreneurial mind, entrepreneurial spirit, there is a formula that is, necessary. You learn that. Once you learn that, then we can start talking about putting things into perspective as far as how to make it a unique towards you, find your niches. You're on and running, you're kicking ass. But I can't come out and just say, Oliver, what you need is you need to learn your scripts. You need to spend 6 to 5 hours or 6 to 7 hours a day prospecting. And you're just like, no, I don't want to do any of those things. Right. And I don't blame them. All of those things are off. I hate saying them,
Right.
but it's necessary.
Right.
Right. It's necessary. So I deliver on perceived necessity. They think they need something. I'm not going to tell them they don't. I'm just going to cater to them. I'm going to
Right.
say, you got it.
Yeah.
No problem. Well, I need this. I'll have it for you on Monday. And if I don't, I'm a liar. You can hang your license somewhere else and give me a bad review. But I'm telling you right now, if that's what you say you need, I will deliver
I
that for
got
you.
you.
I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
And I want you to commit to doing these other things because that's a commitment to your success. Are you down?
Mm.
Well, yeah, I'm down.
Great way to reposition that.
Okay, then
Yeah.
let's go. If I'm going to commit to you and take care of your needs, and I'm down, then I want you to commit to yourself, not me, but I want you to commit also to yourself that you're going to do some other necessary things that's going to help you boost your
Right.
brand, boost your transaction, boost your trajectory in your career,
Yeah.
right? Whatever leverage you're going to use real estate for. And so yeah, dude, that's really what I've based this new office off of is we're surrounded by Gen Xers, we're surrounded by millennials, and forget your opinion on the generation. Let's just talk about habits and talk about what excites them. What are they used to? What did they build for us?
Mm.
I had Instagram, but it wasn't Instagram of today. Why? Because millennials took that thing and forced it to be this monumental app and
Mm-hmm.
platform.
Mm-hmm.
And Gen Xers really didn't make a whole lot of money with Facebook and Instagram. Millennials did. Gen Xers, a lot of us made money on YouTube. Millennials came in and blew it the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say is the habits of communication are way different. You know what I mean? Like I remember my parents, if they wanted to call somebody, they opened up their little, it was so funny, a little sliding
The
thing on the,
Rolodex.
yeah, it was a little sliding thing goes on the letter and you hit the
Yep.
button, it pops up and
Yep.
oh, there's my Aunt Paula, there's this all the stuff, and they would dial, and that was it. I mean, my aunts and uncles used to knock on the door. Hey, we were in the neighborhood.
Right.
And we're like, oh, this is great. Let's have some coffee and catch up.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time someone knocked on your door, dude? That would freak you the hell out now. You know what I mean? So the
uh,
styles of communication have evolved so much, and yet we're still telling people to do things the
mm,
way it was done in like the early 90s, the late or the early 2000s. Like, bro, like things have changed.
very interesting.
And yeah, you can still do that, and you're still going to find success. But the most efficient way, like the most common way, the most accepted way, is the one thing that most folks have the most issue with, and that is social media.
Mm-hmm.
Direct messaging, private messaging, whatever, whatever you want to spin that. People are used to text messaging because it's more comfortable. But brother, when you and I were growing up, we had razors and we had to 2256
Yeah.
and hit those to
And
get the
pagers.
yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. So when the Sidekick came out, we had
Yep.
alpha keys everywhere. It revolutionized the way that we communicate, and now it's just common. If you don't text me, I think you're weird.
Hmm.
If you're calling me instead of a text,
Dude, why you calling me?
why are you calling me? Just shoot me a text, right? So, and the same thing now, like even my kid, who's drastically in a completely different generation, all of their communication is done through a headset. You know what I mean? It's like that's how they communicate, and they're not communicating with the homie down the street. They're communicating with some dude from Wyoming and some other, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying that's just what it is.
Hmm.
That's
Right.
it's Discord, it's servers, it's it's that
Twitch and
it's
all
yeah, it's
that.
Twitch,
Yeah.
it's all of those things. So yeah, dude, I give and I provide and I just deliver on the perceived necessity of the agent. And then while I'm doing that, I switch them into, hey, here's all the stuff you're going to need, by the way. Put this in your backpack. You're going to want
The
that.
entrepreneurial side of the business
Exactly,
and yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it gross? No. Is the word gross? Yeah. It's a bait and switch, even though I am trying to deliver as much as I can on what they feel that they need to be successful. And yeah, we just go above and beyond after that.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd even call it a bait and switch because you're really giving them both. You're giving them what they think they need
Yeah.
through the requests, and then you're giving them what they actually need, which is the nuts and bolts of the business, the how to, the support, the compliance,
Right.
the keeping them in, out of trouble and all that.
Right.
So love it. Got a couple questions to wrap up with. I would say, and this is kind of a good segue from what we were just talking about. What would you say for today's agent is most critical to their success in 60 seconds or less?
I'll do it in five. Branding.
Mm,
Brand yourself right now. Find who you are and brand the living crap out of yourself. Um, if you become the most talked about, the most recognized, uh, the most identifiable, it doesn't matter where you're at, how you're doing it, when you're doing it, you will start getting that phone call. The hardest thing to do in our industry is get someone to call you. I believe with the proper marketing, the proper branding, you could easily switch that around and have people call you.
mm-hmm.
Nobody from Nike has ever once, not one time, has ever called me and said, "Dude, you gotta let me sell you some J's."
Yeah.
Like you gotta let. I
There's a
work.
new release coming up.
Yeah,
Can
dude.
I sell it to you?
I get emails,
Yeah.
right? I get emails like there's a drop coming, and that's only if I subscribe. Like I have to actually want to know if a drop's coming from Nike. Otherwise, I got to go to the store, right? I want to go get some new J's. I want that. And these Nikes have allowed me, because of their branding, because of their marketability, how they've become popular through their marketing. I already know that's my shoe. I want to go wear that shoe. Now it's a pop culture thing. Homie, their shoes are made in Vietnam. Like their shoes suck. They're not coming from my Flintstone feet, but when I wear them, I'm feeling some type of way.
Right.
Their marketing has done
And
that
that's
for
the
me.
brand. Yeah.
That's the brand.
Hmm.
So, and I'm not saying you should be a shitty agent. Like don't be a shitty shoe. I'm saying you could be easily the most popular wanted commodity if people know who you are and what you're about,
Hmm.
which is why I always say stop trying to be fake and be that weird dude on TV like, hey, welcome to just be you.
Yeah.
The people still are baffled when they see me walk into a room with flowered pants, a black shirt, I mean, wrapped in gold. You guys have seen me. Like I come in wild.
Yeah.
But that's who I am. I enjoy that shit. I like it. That's the way I like to dress. That's my fashion, if you will.
Hmm.
And it stops people like, dude, what in the flip am I looking at? Look at this overweight flower pot walking through here with gold chains and
The white
watch
Rick Ross
the
of real
white
estate.
yeah, they get the white rod. Look at this clown walking in here, but they don't forget. they don't forget, and that's because I do all of my content, all of my branding, everything that I do in that fashion. It's because I don't have to fake it.
Mm,
I don't have to worry about if I said the right thing or if I said the wrong thing. I am me. I'm going to attract a lot of people, and I'm going to push a lot of people away, and that's okay.
mm.
Luckily, in our business, I got a business partner who attracts people that don't like me. So it's a good balance,
Yin and yang, yeah.
yin and yang. So brand yourself, brand it like you've never branded before. Spend the money, invest in yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a perfect spot to leave it. I think that's great advice. This has been an awesome interview.
Thank you, dude.
Appreciate you coming out. Let's cheers one last
Yes,
time.
sir. Let's not try not to spill.
Yeah. Hopefully the next one won't explode all over me. And
Mhm.
as usual, guys, if you have any questions, put your comments down below. Leave us a like, leave us a review, all that good stuff. And as always, if you like money and you like real estate, this is the show for you. We'll see you on the next one.